Hey, good evening, and thanks for joining us tonight. Welcome. My name is Vincent Carvelli. I'll be spending some time with you guys tonight and hopefully providing you with some information about the AAPTE, a little bit of our background, what our organization is about, and give you some information about the state of the personal training industry and in the profession, and what career opportunities are out there for people entering the personal training field. And I'd also want to share with you our course curriculum, talk to you a little bit about the modules that we offer, and maybe even have some time we can touch a little bit on our perspectives on exercise and how we begin to share our theories and our perspective on what it is that we do on a day-to-day basis that kind of makes a difference for those in the field and those who are, getting our services as personal trainers. So we were established in 1996, and initially our goal was to provide theoretical knowledge and practical skill training merged with deductive thinking concepts as they relate to the human body for the personal training professional and the fitness enthusiast. So we set out not only to educate personal trainers, but for those people who wanted an education similar to what a personal trainer gets, but didn't have intentions of being a personal trainer. We were reaching out to both aspects of the population. And our goal was to become a comprehensive, respected education and continuing education professional certification resource for fitness professionals nationally. And our strategy to do that was to exceed industry standards and our consumers' expectations. And we've been able to successfully do that since the fall of 1996. We have been providing our personal training and exercise fitness specialist curricula at Hofstra University, and for those of you familiar with Hofstra, it's an institution of higher education. We continue to provide a comprehensive, credible, respected, and industry-recognized educational experience, preparing participants for the personal training profession and nationally accredited certification. So AAPT as an organization is a nationally accredited organization. It's where our credibility lies within our certification. We are one of only 13 nationally accredited personal training certification organizations in the country, and we're certified by the NCCA, the National Commission for Certifying Agencies. They are the most credible accrediting agency, and we'll learn a little bit more about them as we go through this presentation. So AAPT, we've been at this since 1996, and it wasn't too long ago, actually, around September 2006, when one of our industry publications, you can see here, it's called Club Business International, they did an article about schools and universities developing personal training curriculums. And we were featured in that article. Their article started out with the personal training industries quickly becoming part of the healthcare mainstream. A number of major universities and other accredited learning institutions have recently begun to develop academically-based programs for personal fitness professionals. And included in that were Purdue and Indiana University. We actually were doing that 10 years before this article came out. Along with Hofstra, we put together a curriculum that was second to none. And of course, over nearly the last 20 years, that curriculum has been enhanced and modified to stay current with what our industry needs as a newly certified professional enters the field. So we were at this a long time prior, nearly a decade prior to other institutions and other certification agencies thinking that there was actually a need for certification in education. More recently, in one of our industry magazines, April 2012, they wrote about degrees and certifications. They enhance revenue potential for personal trainers, and they improve safety. This is an article that came out April 1st, 2012 by Stuart Goldman. And they quote here, "Club operators can also turn to certifying agencies that have been accredited to ensure the certification is properly preparing the trainer and in turn protecting the members." So to us, this was very important way back in the 90s. But now it's become very important to our industry as our industry is growing and there are more health clubs and there are more fitness centers and more opportunity for personal trainers to actually have a career, we want to bring credibility to it, and we want the general public to know that personal trainers are more than just people who are passionate about working out. They are educated. There's a lot of knowledge to what it is that they do, and their certification isn't easy to obtain. And in that article, they again cited the NCCA accredited personal training certification organizations, and the Academy of Applied Personal Training Education was cited in that article as well. We are nationally recognized, and we are nationally known. We have our name, our academy is in places as far as Houston. In the Houston Chronicle, they did an article on top personal training certification organizations. And in that article, of course, they listed the top nationally accredited organizations in the country, and of course, we were happened to be listed there. The Oakland Press did an article on finding the right personal trainer for you, and they indicate that your trainer should hold a current nationally recognized certification by an organization that has been accredited by the NCCA. And so looking at the NCCA, that is our Association for Personal Training Certification. Again, the Academy of Applied Personal Training Education is listed there. So for some of you who aren't too familiar with us, we're out there. We're national and we're local, and you can bring it as close to Newsday, close to our own home right here on Long Island. And on January 8th, 2013, this article was published in the fitness section of Newsday. And they're talking about certifications. There are dozens of organizations that claim to certify fitness professionals. A lot of them are bogus, says fitness author Liz Newport. She continues to cite the leading organizations and educational institutions, and again you'll see here we're listed with Hofstra University as providing the education experience that personal trainers need. So when we talk a little bit about the profession, when I started in this industry in the late 80s, early 90s, personal training was just a name. It really wasn't a profession. And, to late, we've actually become a profession. And there's a lot happening within the field. And it's really an exciting time to get involved. In 2010, this is when it really started to gain some traction. An article came out on the hot top jobs now, and they were looking at the careers most in demand for the next 5 years. So they were looking at 2010 through 2015, and where they derived their information was from the State Department of Labor. And what they show here, you can see highlighted, is fitness and aerobic instructors at $52,170. That was a big step for our industry. That made us real. That offered the opportunity for people entering the field to make a living and start with a reasonable income. Then in 2012, CNN Money rated personal training as the number 18 career to have out of 100. And they looked at it from a quality rating standpoint for personal satisfaction. They gave it a B, low stress, an A, benefit to society. Of course, we do great things for people we work with, an A, and flexibility relative to your hours and days of employment. Then more recently in Newsday, May 4th, 2014, they looked at Long Island's fastest growing jobs again. And the Department of Labor has identified 35 occupations whose growth on Long Island is predicted to range from 24.1% to 53.3% in a 10-year span ending in 2020. And here we actually have one of our certified personal trainers. She was interviewed and identified in this article. She took the AAPT certification program and changed her career. She had spent 20 years in the insurance industry but didn't feel emotionally fulfilled, and she made a transition into the personal training field. And she came to us here at Hofstra in the AAPT and has made a real heck of a go at it in the personal training industry and is enjoying her career. And then lastly, I'll share with you salary.com. Nassau County, if you plug it in and you plug in the profession personal trainer, they came in with a median annual salary of $61,633. So there is a lot happening within our industry. It is growing fast. People are excited about the opportunities, and employment opportunities are abundant. There's a diversified way of finding yourself into a particular format that is comfortable for you. We have people in country clubs and hospitals and yoga and Pilates studios and working at resorts and cruise ships. Lots of opportunities. And these are just some of the organizations that employ AAPT certified fitness professionals. If you ever have the opportunity to visit our website and you look under employment opportunities where our certificates tend to visit, you'll see that these are the organizations that are interested in interviewing and hiring AAPT trainers. So for a lot of people, and for some of you listening, you have a passion for fitness and you're thinking about turning it into a career, and you might wonder what is required. And so we're going to look at some information that comes from a real credible resource. This is an organization that AAPT is a member of, and this is in one of their most, well actually this dates back to 2013. They haven't published their new trends report for 2014 yet, but what they do share with us is what the criteria is used for hiring based on their research. And what they find here for the personal trainer, that certification tops any other requirement relative to being considered for employment. It even trumps a degree by a considerable amount. So somebody with an exercise science degree or a physiology degree, which is invaluable, absolutely invaluable, the health and fitness industry, from an employment standpoint, is going to ask about your certification. And they're going to ask if your certification is a nationally accredited certification. And in fact, as you already know, AAPT does provide the nationally accredited certification. They also look at your skills and abilities. And that's kind of where AAPT separates itself from some other educational opportunities, because we provide you the hands-on training. We actually take you into a fitness center environment, and we go through the motions, the movements, and the assessment that a personal trainer should have at least been exposed to and have the skills to be able to provide a new client. And then when they look at your pay upon hiring, again, it goes back to certification and your skills and abilities. So these are two important things to keep in mind when you're considering certification. And so let's talk a little bit about how we get you prepared for a career. We start with, for those of you who may not have ever had an anatomy course, we have a course that's designed specifically for the personal trainer. And you can see here it spans over 3 sessions. It's a 12-hour course, and it's specific to the knowledge that the personal trainer should have. So it deals with the skeletal system, the muscular system, touches on the cardiovascular and respiratory system, but leaves out a lot of stuff that a traditional college-level anatomy course would include, such as stuff on the cellular level. Because as a personal trainer, it's essential that we have a foundational understanding of the human body relative to the muscles and the systems. For those of you who have had anatomy, you're exempt from needing it. You just give AAPT a copy of your transcript and you just would register for our certification course. This is what your educational modules look like. So we cover a variety and a broad spectrum of topics. We start with medical terminology and medical conditions and concerns. We talk about training safety. We get into spinal mechanics and basic psychology concepts for the personal trainer. Client assessment, learning a little bit about how to identify risk factors and issues that would be considered unhealthy or risky for a client to engage in exercise. And then we introduce foundations of resistance training exercise biomechanics, where we start to look at human movement and motion and we relate it to exercise specifically. We cover joint range of motion and stretching, physiology of human performance, and exercise program design and progression. So how do you start putting together an exercise program for an individual, and how do you progress it? What are the methods and strategies? So we cover that for you. We cover nutrition, and we get into the business of personal training as well. And then during one of your last modules, we bring in an industry guest speaker. So that might be somebody from an Equinox, a New York Sports Club, an LA Fitness, a Crunch, an organization that kind of outlines the career opportunities that are available, the benefits that are associated with the organization, just to give our candidates the opportunity to get some idea of what is available to them when they start to seek employment, and so that they can compare and contrast when they are interviewing at different facilities the different benefits and options that employment and facilities offer. During your educational curriculum, you'll have some hands-on practical training. We built in 18 hours of hands-on skill. So you can see here we have 3 labs. They all occur on Sunday, and we cover everything from core to client assessment, stretching, your upper extremity, lower extremity. And then that 3rd module reviews module 1 and 2. So for a person who might miss a module, either number 1 or number 2, they're going to be exposed to that information in module 3. For those of you who are able to attend both module 1 and module 2, you'll get reinforcement and a review of everything that we covered in module 3. After your certification course, preparation course, your exam is on April 12th, 2015. Another benefit to going through AAPT and having it held here at Hofstra University is that you're familiar with the campus, you've been coming for class. When it comes for your exam day, it's not that you have to find yourself off campus somewhere at some building you've never been to before, in some environment that there will be people taking different types of tests. Your certification exam is given right here on campus and right close to the room that you actually spent several weeks in preparing for certification. So we try to make it as convenient for you as possible, and everything is on a time schedule so that you know when your certification exam is, what time, and where the location is. So with that being said, I'd like to just talk a little bit about our perspective. And this is a pretty cool ad campaign. It was something that New York Sports Club ran in 2001. And their ad read that no one's born knowing the right way to work out. And I couldn't agree with that more. When we think about where and how most people learn about exercise, it's pretty common. Most people learn from a friend, a celebrity, TV talk show, in the gym. To late now we have Instagram. Prior to, we have our iPhone apps, and we have people on Instagram, performing the latest and greatest exercise program and gaining, 5, 10, 15, 20, 30,000 followers. The question is, how do we know what it is that these people are sharing with us, and what makes the exercise or the exercise technique good? And how much exercise is actually enough? These are questions that are super important. When is too much of a good thing not so good? And what is the definition of in good shape? And what determines healthy? These are questions that we provide the answers for. And we kind of look at it this way. We know that knowledge of an exercise is often validated merely by results, performance improvements, physiological and cosmetic changes. The fact is, results alone aren't the benchmark for determining the appropriateness of an exercise or an exercise system. Results are simply indicators that the human body is physiologically and anatomically responding to a stimulus, known in mechanics as force. It's not a specific exercise or exercise system. So what I'm saying here is that in order to get the body to change, you just have to do something with it. And you have to apply resistance to it. And over time, there's going to be a change. There's definitely going to be a change. But what we see on the outside relative to what's happening to the body and what might be happening on the inside might be two different things. For those of you sitting and joining us tonight, I suspect that a portion of you are avid exercisers. And, I would also contend that you exercise because there are health benefits and you want to be strong and functionally independent, and you longitudinally want to be able to do things and maintain your independence. And exercise is the thing that is supposed to help us do that. But if I ask you to ask yourself if you've ever had lower back pain, knee pain, hip pain, or shoulder pain, and you're doing something called exercise that's supposed to be good for you and keep us pain-free and keep us healthy and keep us strong, we have to begin to question the exercise that we're doing and how we're doing it. And so that's where this real science comes into things. We look at the observation, identification, description, experimental investigation, and theoretical explanation of phenomena. And it's a little bit more in-depth than going to the gym and getting results. Our goal is to teach you how to think about exercise and not what to think about exercise. This is not an opinion-based course, it's a science-based course. And I'll share with you some misconceptions that we have and some of the things that you'll learn during the course. For example, these misconceptions, that we'll share 6 of them with you right now. We've been told that leg lifts work your lower abdominal muscles, and that's not true, and we can explain why. So if we take a look at this image here, you can see that we're looking at the rectus abdominis muscles, and we can see where they attach, and it's clear that they don't have any relationship to the leg, meaning that the abdominal muscles don't attach to your leg, so lifting your leg isn't performed by your abdominal muscles. And the other thing we can see is that the muscles, when they contract, they pull on the pelvis and the rib cage, not the leg. An interesting thing about muscle is that it's much like a rubber band. If you held a rubber band out in front of you in both your hands and you pulled on your right arm and left your left arm in a static position, the rubber band would stretch, and it would stretch across its entire length. It wouldn't just stretch at the end that was moving. And muscle is the same way. When muscle contracts and tightens or lengthens and shortens, it does so between the 2 points of attachment. So the whole thing, from the top to the bottom, work in unison. There's no way of working the lower portion of a muscle or the upper portion of a muscle exclusively. Then we also hear that if you aren't sore from working out, it's not working out. The no pain, no gain theory. And that's highly debatable. Many people believe that tearing down muscle is the way to create beneficial results. Additionally, they believe that signs of what are usually considered injurious, which is muscle soreness and injury, in the medical profession are signs of a good workout, instead of what it actually is. It's a degree of injury and trauma. So we'll start to talk to you and explore this idea of tearing down muscle to build it up, and how that really doesn't make sense, and how that is actually counterproductive in many ways. And then we're also told we have to stretch, and if you've ever heard anything about stretching, you've heard, well, you should do it before exercise, you should do it after exercise, you should do it during exercise. And the question is, how do we come up with the right answer? Do we do it before, do we do it during, or do we do it after, or do we not even do it at all? And then we have you have to do at least 30 minutes of cardio to burn fat. And what's really cool about fat is it can't tell time or count minutes. So it's not going to know if you did 15 minutes of cardio exercise or you did 3 hours of cardio exercise. And then we're told we have to do a certain amount of repetitions and a certain amounts of sets, and muscles don't count. Muscles don't have the ability to calculate the number of reps and sets that we do. And then we also know the theory on if you have a good sweat, that indicates that you had a good workout. And sweating does not indicate a good workout. In fact, sweating is just really related to the thermoregulatory properties of your body. And sweating is irrelevant to an efficient workout. But these are just some of the myths and misconceptions that are associated with exercise. So our position on this is that we believe that exercise recommendations and instruction should be based upon scientific principles and not common or public opinion alone. And we know that the human body's neuromuscular, physiological, and musculoskeletal systems are models of engineering. They require an understanding of mechanical and physiological sciences in order to better understand their interdependency, intended function, and responses to exercise. Without applying fundamental scientific principles to the human body's structure and function, we're merely making assumptions at best as to the longitudinal effects of exercise as it relates to improved health, wellness, strength, power, cosmetic changes, and athletic performance. And so what we see here is, this obviously is a cadaver, and what we tend to see in the cadaver lab is what a person's body on the outside looks like is no indication of what might be happening on the inside of the body. And what we see here is the beginnings of osteoarthritis, or actually progressed osteoarthritis. And so when we talk about feeling pain and discomfort, we start to have to understand that it's kind of our body talking to us and telling us that it's not happy with something. And we tend to ignore those things and try to work around those things. But in many cases, that's not a wise choice. And so without an understanding of what we do, how we do it, and why we do it, ultimately we might challenge our structural integrity, and we might alter the ability of our body to be able to perform exercise over the long period. So from yoga to powerlifting, swimming, running, stretching to bodybuilding, all exercise, all resistance training is based on force. And without that understanding, without understanding force, and without the basic understanding of biomechanics and physiology and anatomy, there isn't a way to assess the benefits or risks associated with an exercise. We take a strong position in teaching about the skeletal system and how it has its ability to receive and transfer forces. We want to be able to teach you how to do that so that it can maintain its ability to do so in a pain-free manner. And if it doesn't, we're going to limit or prevent our ability to utilize exercise as a stimulus to optimally challenge our anatomy and physiology. We know that skeletal-related injuries and diseases are painful, debilitating, and can negatively impact overall health. The disruption and pain causes impact to daily function and can disrupt one's quality of life. So, with that being said, the question is, how do we determine the safety, effectiveness, and efficiency of an exercise? How do we know the resource to trust? Is it Men's Fitness? Is it Muscle and Fitness? Is it Shape Magazine? Is it a YouTube on the latest celebrity trainer who won the most recent contest and is a new method of training? Where do we get the answers from? And the determination of safety, effectiveness, and efficiency of an exercise, as well as the most trustworthy resource for answers, comes from the place where all physiological opportunity starts and ends. So it starts here. It starts with an understanding of the structure that you're actually exercising. And then we go to the systems that are involved in exercise and what their interaction and interrelationship is. And then we go out to the muscular system and identifying what it's intended to do and how it's supposed to do things. And maybe at that point we're ready to bring it to the exercise forum. But without investigating and understanding these systems, without having some science-based knowledge, most people are in the gym just repeating something that they saw somebody do and start doing it themselves. And because they're applying force to their bodies, they get some form of a result. But that result should never lead to pain. That result should never lead to dysfunction. That result should only lead to increased structural integrity, increased ability. So why do we say this? We say it because the structure of the human body determines its function, and the condition of the human body determines ability. And just because we can do something doesn't mean we necessarily should. And we explore quite a bit of exercise, a variety of exercises that are common and that people do, that actually, without a scientific understanding, can do damage to the body. And so we say just because we can perform an exercise or a movement doesn't mean we should or shouldn't. What a client or an exerciser should or shouldn't do is a matter of careful professional judgment. And so what makes ANA, APT, Hofstra education different is just that. We take all of that into consideration, and here's how we put it together. We provide hands-on learning where we merge theory and practical application. We start with the deepest level of the structure, the skeletal and muscular system. We bring it into practical application environment where we're actually able to perform motion and movement, describe to you what's being used, how it's being used. You get the opportunity to take all the theory that we discuss in the classroom and bring it into the lab, into the gym, and challenge it and see if what we're talking about and what we're presenting to you actually makes a difference. And nearly 20 years later, if it didn't, we wouldn't be sitting here having this conversation. We do a really good job of pulling the pieces together for our students. You should know that our lab science instructors, the people who spend the 18 hours in the lab with you, were once AAPTE students. They've gone through specialized training, internships, and now provide education for our new students. But the great thing about that is they've been in your seat. They know what it's like to be a student. So the way they provide the information, the format to which they use is very user-friendly. They're accommodating, they're passionate about teaching, and they do a really good job to make sure that you understand, you're involved, and you're ready to sit for a certification exam. We teach you guys how to do things like blood pressure and body composition analysis along with resistance training application. We do this in small group orientations. We review different types of pieces of equipment, make sense of why they may make sense or make sense of why they don't make sense. So it's a full educational experience. You're not sitting in front of a computer, you're not getting a stack of books mailed to your house with a DVD and you're navigating your way through this alone. You have the opportunity to have face-to-face based learning. It's an industry-recognized education. We offer an optional 1-hour review class starting your second class through class 11, meaning that after your second class, if there was something during that lecture that you feel you need review with or you'd like some clarification for, the next class you come to, 1 hour before class starts, your instructor will be there to answer those questions and review the materials so that you can have a better comprehension of it. At the end of the course, we offer a 3-hour comprehensive course content review specific to preparing you for your certification. We include the 18 hours of lab science hands-on training, and we have the prerequisite Introduction to Anatomy course created for the introductory personal trainer. Again, I need to mention that if you have an anatomy transcript, you've had anatomy, or you actually have a current nationally accredited certification from one of our sister organizations, you would be exempt from having to take that anatomy. Additionally, AAPT Hofstra University provides a certificate of coursework completion. So for those of you who meet our attendance requirements and sit through the course, you will receive a certificate of coursework completion. That certificate is not your certification, but what it is it's a great piece to have on your resume, indicating that you sat through a hands-on learning course and that you have completed it successfully. Our presenters are industry-recognized subject matter experts. All of them are in the industry. Nearly all of them are teachers and/or professors in the exercise science, health, and nutrition formats. Your certification is nationally accredited, and it's industry recognized. And the AAPT NCCA certification exam is provided on site, as I indicated earlier. So everything that you do will happen right here at Hofstra University. It'll happen on the campus, and relative to the fitness center that we use, it's right here in Nassau County, across, almost literally across the street from the classroom. So it's easy access. Try to make it as convenient as we can for our students. So regarding what you would have to do in your investment, you know that we include all the course materials. We provide you with emails to preview the upcoming course modules to give you an idea of what you're going to be hearing. If you'd like to get a jump on the reading, you can be a step ahead. All the review classes are included. We include practice tests and your exam fees. So the cost of this course to begin your personal training certification career is $995. For those of you needing the anatomy course, it's a $305 course, and again, those who have prior anatomy are exempt. Hofstra also offers you the opportunity to have an interest-free payment plan as well. So that kind of summarizes, that's a quick overview of what AAPT is about, a quick overview of what your educational experience is, the modules that we cover, the hands-on learning environment. We will be having a face-to-face information session if you feel you have more questions or you'd like to meet us face-to-face on February 5th, 2015, right here at Hofstra University. And if you're interested in reserving a spot for that, you can call the number on the screen, 463-4803, and speak to Kathy. Kathy also handles our registration and our payment plans. So if you're interested, she can explain exactly how that works for you. So I'd like to thank you for your time. If you have any further questions, you can visit our website at aapte.org, and there's a Contact Us link there, and that'll be sent to me, and I can get back to you via email. Or you can speak to Kathy here at Hofstra. Kathy's been involved with our course for well over a decade and knows the ins and outs of it, so she can help you as well. Thank you for your time. Thanks for joining us tonight. Have a nice night.